Good morning. I am so glad that you could join me today. Welcome to, I'm Jim from A Teague of Your Own, and welcome to Motivational Monday. Let's get motivated. Woo! As you can probably see, I am here by myself this morning. Michelle is away on assignment, so I will be handling everything today. So today what I wanted to talk about is the word fear, something that I've been hearing a lot about lately. People have been talking about people living in fear. And a big reason for that is because we are in some, relatively uncertain times at this moment. Nobody is quite certain where things are headed, especially economically. We've been in a rough patch for a while, and there seems to be some hope that we might start to possibly turn some things around, but probably not in a way that is sharp enough or quick enough to really keep us from having to go through another rough patch. Consensus seems to be from most economists and a lot of commentators on these topics that we're probably looking at the first half of this year as being kind of tough. Interest rates keep going up. Inflation is not coming down as much as it should. Energy prices are going back up. We've got, it looks like a rough patch going on here. And as a result, a lot of people are experiencing a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear about what is happening. But when we take the word fear and break it down, well, what does it really stand for? Well, for most people, fear stands for false evidence appearing real. People will see things that aren't necessarily there sometimes. Some people have fears of doing certain things that they really shouldn't be afraid of. We always like to go back to talking about a family member who quite often will be fearful of things that they shouldn't be afraid of, but will oddly enough not be afraid of things that they really should have some level of fear about. So for some people, the thinking can sometimes be backwards. But for most folks, a lot of things that they fear, a lot of things that they worry about or they stress about, it's all right up in here. It's right up in their minds. But when we are faced with things that we find fearful, we have a built-in mechanism for dealing with that. It's called the fight or flight response. And what that means, and we see this in the animal world, is that when animals face something that they should be afraid of, that they'll have one of two responses. They will either fight or they'll flee. They'll get out of the situation. People are no different. But the big difference with people is we have more control over our response. Now, one of the things that's happening now, and like I said, there's two elements to this that I've heard added to it lately. Makes it provides a little more thought, food for thought about being fearful. And a third option that we're seeing a lot of people do, and we see this with certain animals, is freeze. So you've got fight, so you can fight back and go against it, live up to the fear. You can flee, get yourself out of the situation, or you can just freeze. And we see that a lot with animals like squirrels. If you've ever encountered a squirrel in the road, when they become frightened by a car coming down the road, they can't make up their mind where they want to go. Sometimes they'll make the right choice. They'll run off of the road. Sometimes they'll make the wrong choice and run further into the road. And sometimes they'll make the really wrong choice and just freeze. Okay. People talk about this with deer as well. If you've ever heard the phrase, like a deer caught in headlights. Okay. The deer freezes up. And part of it is because it's a situation that they're not familiar with. Okay. They're used to having to run from predators. But a vehicle in the road, that's an unnatural situation for these animals. And so a third thing that people can do is freeze. And we're seeing a lot of that right now. People who are just frozen in place because they don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. But as John Maxwell points out, the highway is littered with flattened squirrels because they couldn't make a decision. Same thing with human beings. The highway of life is littered with flattened, metaphorically speaking, human beings or people because they froze in place. And there's a lot of that going on right now. People that they're not sure which way to go because they're very uncertain about where things are going to go in our economy. Again, we've got a lot of chaos. We've got a lot of upheaval. Some of it is just things that are happening. Some of it seems to be by design to create confusion in our society. But either way, the response to just freeze in place is generally not going to be your best decision. You really need to decide what you are going to do and how you're going to handle the situation. Best way to overcome obstacles, and that's all this is right now, is an obstacle, is to take action. And that's why the fourth idea that I've heard recently on this idea of handling fear is faith. A fourth F, faith. The idea being that you need to have faith in yourself, that you can not only overcome obstacles of this nature, but that you can actually thrive in an environment of chaos. One of the things that happens whenever we have these types of situations is you've got some people, again, they make the wrong decision. You have companies, they make the wrong decision. They do things like, as I like to call it, battening down the hatches, where they basically withdraw, they cut their expenses as much as they possibly can. They'll cut out things that they shouldn't, which is bizarre, like marketing. You still got to market yourself if you're going to move your product or sell your services. And that's something that all of us have to do, even people who have a job, a regular job. Okay? I still work in academia. And one of the things that we have to make sure of is that we have students. If we don't have students, very soon we no longer have a university, or they start cutting out departments, which some schools are starting to do that. And eventually you have no college, you have no university if you cut far enough, or you cut so far to where the quality of what you're offering and the variety of what you're offering is so limited that students start to say, I got better options. I have better options. I don't need to be here. So they'll cut down on their marketing. And again, you've got to let people know you're there. You've got to be out there, through whatever form it may happen to be. Or just as bad, they'll cut things like training. That's one of the worst things that you could do, because your biggest asset in any organization, I don't care if you have loads and loads of physical assets, it's going to be your people, because all of those assets, those other things, they don't matter if you don't have quality people in your organization. And the way that you develop and retain quality people in your organization is by offering them training so they can continually work on improving themselves, so they can develop, so they can become more valuable to your organization. Plus, by doing that, you show them that you're investing in them. People are leaving companies that are not investing in them in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So it's amazing when we see these types of situations that the first two things that companies will cut, three things, they'll cut three things: marketing, training, and eventually personnel. Okay. We're starting to see that. We're starting to see some of these larger companies are starting to lay off folks. It's amazing. We have gone from a situation where, and we still have the situation where there's many more jobs available than there are people to fill those jobs. But that gap is shrinking. And that should be a heads up to everybody that things are changing. This is, the last leg, the thing that has really been holding things up for a while. And now it is finally starting to also collapse, slowly but surely. Now, again, does that mean the end of the world? No, because there are going to be tons of opportunities for the people who are willing to have that faith in themselves and to go forward and to continue to do what they're doing and to find better ways to do what they are doing. It is amazing what happens in these types of environments. And you'll always be able to tell the companies that you start to get all of this bad news, it starts piling up and they start to collapse. They are the ones who decided to take flight, or they froze in place, or they started dismantling things. And we see those individuals too, the people who just say, oh, well, you know what? I'm just going to bury my head in the sand. I'm just going to go away. I'm going to hibernate and wait for this thing to be over. And then I will get back out there. Problem is, when everything turns around, the people who were consistently out there, they're way ahead of them. They've already got all the business. So the key thing in an environment like this is to keep on trucking, keep on moving forward. Okay. That should be a fifth F when it comes to a response of fear, is forward. Have faith in yourself and keep moving forward. You don't want to flee the situation. Okay. Doesn't make any sense. It's going to be here no matter what. Fighting is just a bad idea, because let's face it, when you have fights, when you're fighting it, okay, then you're resisting it. And that's not the best way to do things. That makes it tough. Okay. And then you certainly don't want to freeze up. Okay. You don't want to be that squirrel that gets flattened on the highway. Okay. Freezing is no good. You still need to take action. So again, the way to overcome that fear, and keep this in mind for this entire year, because again, it's going to be a crazy year. Anybody who pays attention to this stuff, you can see it. You can see it big as life. It's going to be another crazy year. As a matter of fact, we're probably a few years out from things. I mean, and the reality is, think about, I know I've been on this mud ball for a long time. Things have never been normal, so to speak. Things are always crazy. There's always something changing, even when we're in environments where things are going well. Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't some sort of danger. Okay, but you just got to face it. Again, have faith in yourself and move forward. All right, that's all I've got for today. Thank you for joining me. If you need some help, you want to talk about things with your business, with what you're doing, how to overcome fear, feel free to give us a call. Our phone number is 412-420-7975. You can also contact us on Facebook, LinkedIn. You can email us info@ateagueofyourown.com. Go to our website, ateagueofyourown.com. Check us out. Drop us a line. You can also let us know what topics you might like to see us discuss here on this program. Also, very exciting, this past weekend, we were attending a 3-day seminar. And it was a seminar. It was I guess you can call it a gathering, online gathering. And we picked up a couple of guests that we're going to be having on the show here over the next few weeks. If you have a business, you're promoting something, again, you can pitch here all you want. But let us know. We'd love to have you as a guest. You can come on. You can talk about what you do, how you help people. And we love to get that kind of information out there. So feel free to contact us. And we look forward to hearing from you soon. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a fantastic week.